Now, to dissect this conversation, we're now joined by legal analyst, Advocate Jazz Vilakazi. Advocate, thank you so much for your time. Let's just start here. The right against self-incrimination is protected under the Constitution of South Africa. That would be around Section 35J. Now, what exactly does the law say?
Thank you very much for having me on your show. Interesting day at Madlanga Commission when Mr. Matlala spoke at length about his right to self-incrimination. Now, what the law basically says is that a person who is an accused in a matter has the right to not effectively get themselves into more trouble by saying and stating things which may be used by the prosecution or the police against them. So that right is there. It's the equivalent, the American equivalent is pleading the fourth, as they normally say.
Yeah.
And it's simply there to watch out over the interest and not make it easy for the police to, and prosecution, of course, to find things against the accused.
Now, Matlala was not the first witness to invoke this right. And the conversation only really blew up today. But what then happens to claims that remain unresponded to? And as well as, and I think that's really interesting to find out if I can do that throughout the questioning, the entire day perhaps. And what is it that the commission can do if I don't answer those questions, for example?
Well, it's a bit of a prickly situation as it is. The Section 6 of the Commissions Act is quite explicit that a witness, once they've been sworn in, should answer satisfactorily to the questions which are posed. So it is not per se up for Mr. Matlala alone to determine as to what he will answer or not answer to. He must still satisfy the commission, which is why there's now this issue of a supplementary affidavit.
Yeah.
Mr. Matlala must still satisfy the commission in terms of why then specifically he chose not to answer. The right to self-incrimination is also not a blanket right. Mr. Matlala, for instance, can't deny, as it were, having met somebody because that's just confirmation of a fact that happened. It's not necessarily pointing to something wrong that was done. Insofar as what the powers of the commission, they can compel you as a witness to answer a specific question, and a failure to answer such a question could lead to even imprisonment if it's up to the commission and they're of the view that you've been an evasive witness.
Yeah. Now, speaking of that supplementary statement, procedurally, what perhaps can the expect going forward?
Well, what they've done today is they spent quite a big part of the day outlining, the evidence leaders spent the part of the day outlining what sort of questions they wanted Mr. Matlala to answer to, and in particular to address them on the issues of self-incrimination. What will subsequently happen is that they'll obviously then study the affidavit that will be provided by Mr. Matlala. And from then on, they'll be able to find more questions.
Yeah.
I also just wish to add that even though Mr. Matlala can claim right to self-incrimination, it was pointed out, I think it was Mr. Mahotse who was on the stand back then, that the evidence that he gives here cannot be used in criminal proceedings. And the same is true for Mr. Matlala as well. The police must still do their own separate investigations insofar as the charges that Mr. Matlala now faces in the criminal court.
Now, I think just generally, and this is just a question I really think is interesting, and a number of South Africans have been asking throughout the day with regards to self-incrimination. To what end? How long can I use that for? And this is not particular to the commission. It could be any legal matter that anyone is faced with, in police custody, for example.
Well, yes. In effect, self-incrimination simply stops you from answering what could be very awkward questions for you as an accused person. However, there are things that obviously you cannot say that you won't answer because of self-incrimination. For instance, the police might stop you and ask you, what is your date of birth?
Yes.
That is just a factual position and there's no way around it that you cannot answer that. However, when it comes to specific commissioning or at least elements of a crime that had been commissioned and people that have been involved therein, if it gets you as the man on the street into trouble in that regard, then you can raise the Section 35 right and allow the police to do their own investigations in order for them to present that in a court.
Now, very quickly, let's now get to the content of Matlala's testimony. Now, he didn't want to say much about his contract with the South African Police Service, and he also denied having close ties to both Minister Mchunu and General Mkhwanazi. Now, does the Commission have enough to go on, especially, now this is looking at the evidence that was previously been heard against him?
I, for one, have learned that this commission, they generally know what the correct answer is before they even ask you anything. I think the commission does have quite a bit to go on. Number one, there would be bank statements, and that's what the evidence leader today alluded to. Secondly, there would have been testimony from other witnesses insofar as Mr. Matlala's involvement in these contracts and specific persons within SAPS. So I think it's going to be a tough day 2 for Mr. Matlala when it arrives, and possibly day 3.
Advocate, thank you so much for your time. That's Jazz Vilakazi, who is a legal analyst, giving us information with regards to that very interesting conversation around self-incrimination.